Okay, today is what? August 14th. Wait, this is Bitcoin. The Binance chart on 1 day scale. So compared to last week, it made a good progress. On a daily scale, you can clearly see the trend is up. Today it's down by around 2 to 3% range, but there is no major at this moment. There is no major threat at this moment. Now, what we see here is, I think this is something expected earlier. So 48, 49, approximately this level is a resistance level. It has to break above. Actually, when you have to look behind, I think can you put on mute? I tried to mute you 2 3 times. Oh no. Okay, please be on mute for now. Thanks. Where I was. Okay. So yeah, now so so the first goal was to survive, right? Over here when it was 29K, there were multiple attacks to this support level. And this is the level where we were expecting it to survive, and it did, right? So this was the main and a major and the most important move. Then second expectation was to get out of this mess and the 42K level, because there were multiple rejection. Actually, right on May 19th, when it bounced, it got rejected near 42K. Then another rejection next day, and then there were some attempts. This was the closest one, right? And then this was another one, recent one, part of this wave. So this was the second most important level, which I mentioned that it has to break above, and it did successfully, right? Now this was the third one, which was given a long time ago. I raised it to 49K as per the new, but 48K, 49K is the region where we were expecting some slowdown or reaction. So there's nothing surprising at this moment. It has to, and this is also heavy resistance zone, but the main job is done. From here, there is no threat to the trend. There can be some correction. People could book some profit. It is possible, and there could be temporary consolidation as well. It is possible. So next week, but it's impossible to say how long and how how long it goes. But it is okay if it spends some time near this region. In I had to mute you again because this session is being recorded. Sorry. Yeah. Um, right. So like this kind of reaction, it is possible that from this level, it could retrace, and then we'll have to see how deep it could go. Sometime it can come down all the way to 42K and then retest this level and then start to move up, or it may just spend some time here and on a sideway move and then continue on the upside. That's something is not known or cannot be explained at this moment, but I think we can expect some slowdown in coming days. It has moved up significantly on the upside without any rest except this one dip. So it may slow down a bit, but if it doesn't, then we can, the way I would interpret is it's in hurry, and really it wants to climb up quickly as without wasting any time, right? Anyway, so even if it spends few days here in this range, I don't mind. And this is about Bitcoin. We'll talk about ALS shortly after this one, right? So as of now, there is no major threat, but as I said, in a worst case scenario, it could come down and retest this 42K level, which we have to keep an eye. So for now, you can assume that until it breaks above this 40, 49, 350, it could go either sideways, or it could lose some value and spend some time before it breaks above. So that's the summary on a daily. Let's look at the weekly, and I'll hide all the drawings. Weekly has been good. Back to back green candles. No tall, no big, no huge candles, but that's good enough. Bitcoin is anyway not a flashy coin. It very rare occasion you will see tall candle. I think hard to find, and that's how it behaves. And it moves up as if it's not moving up, and then retrospectively you will realize that, hey, I mean, I really, someone who is not paying attention would realize that I really missed the trend. If you look at from 33, and a bigger picture I'm talking about, then this was a very, very prolonged, boring consolidation. In fact, worse than this was actually shorter. This was even longer, because, and also this is so so boring for two reasons. One, because we had faced this one, so everybody was skeptical that, okay, if this bounce is for real or not, because still this level was similar to February level last year. So not everybody was convinced that this is really a rally or a bull run, right? Everybody had that doubt in, and especially when it drops like this, then everybody was bearish and looking for the 3K level again, or even below. Again, you know how people react. So this was the most boring time, very, very longer than this one. And as and they were like under shock. And then what happened, this was a big shock for them, for the most. And then they couldn't believe that it would recover, and it recovered pretty quickly. This is a V-shaped recovery. And then at this moment, it was so like, this is a roller coaster ride. Here they were surprised, and here again they are surprised, when say most of the people. And because this is a V-shaped recovery, and when they decided to enter, they end up in this mess. And this was pretty long, from month of May to October. If you take a mean of this level, like high and low, and then did the average out, then around 10K level it was for multiple months. So this was so boring, and everybody was looking for breakdown from here on. And this was so they were so nervous, and then this thing started. So again they were not convinced, so, and they were late. That's what I came to know, that it was not easy. And then it's like Bitcoin cheated everyone, those who are not able to understand what Bitcoin is doing, because then it went up, as you could see, consistently on upside. And it was so fast here that again they were not sure. And as long as they were I mean, then again the same situation, that many traders entered somewhere here, and then or some many actually entered here. um, I can tell in my circle, like those who are not aware of crypto, who are like outsiders, from a crypto community point of view, they came to know about Bitcoin's rally over here. Until then they were not even part, but this rally made them think, and by the time they decide, it was somewhere here. and many actually people bought somewhere at near all-time high, 50K or higher actually. Anyway, so they are in a bigger trouble. But the point is, why I'm saying all this, that bigger picture has to be kept in mind, right? For I'm talking about seasoned players, right? I mean, we cannot expect it from someone who is new, but even for the new, it will take time, and they have to go through some ups and down, and experience will teach them. But I'm sharing my um, experience, and also, I mean, sometimes you can be proactive. I know, I'm sure, not necessarily you folk, but anyone who is new. So one thing is, you might be having a short-term view, but a trend level view on a weekly scale like this has to be kept in mind, and not to get panic, right? And that's the reason why I'm covering this part. Every week I try to cover some different topic than just Bitcoin price action. So I just happen to take this topic, that why following the trend makes sense, and how people, I mean, those who do not understand trend are late in the game, and they're late in everything. In that case, they end up buying on top, and when they see the correction like this, they end up selling at the bottom, and that's how they hurt themselves. So I just wanted to touch base that topic, that this was the boring part. Now, if anyone who is going to be very sensitive about price action in this one, I have no answer. It just shows that that trader doesn't have enough experience, or not ready, I would say. Not to be blunt about it, but that's a fact. And sometimes the fact has to be expressed in a very simple way without wrapping up anything. If anyone getting tensed with daily movement, um, even though we have such a good weekly scale, and even though we are out of this mess, as I said, then there is no remedy, absolutely no remedy. And as I said, that individual is not fit for crypto. I don't mind saying that. So, and this thing, or set mindset comes with some time, when someone really experience. But some sessions like this can prevent and bring up, this example could actually prevent those kind of silly decisions, or change the mindset, right? So bottom line is, don't not to be so sensitive about 1 day 2 day movement. Okay, focus on the trend, and weekly call like this, we are covering the trend. Nothing goes to the moon overnight, and nothing goes to the rock bottom overnight, right? So there's always some time, when there is a major drop, or major pump. I would say, if you are on the pump and riding, fine, but never chase or never get panic when it happens. Just be relaxed, because whenever you're not relaxed, you end up doing end up with mistake. Right? So with that note, I think the weekly is good, right? Weekly is awesome actually. There's nothing, it's flawless. You cannot complain anything about this. Let's look at the monthly. Monthly, I mean, what else you would expect, right? Nothing. Yeah, this is second green candle, middle of the month, and this is better than the last month, right? And now, if I talk about a scenario on a monthly scale, there can be one scenario where it could move sideways, as I said, come down 42K, and then move up. It is possible. So unless and until it breaks above 49K, I will not expect another leg on the upside. So see, there's earlier on a weekly scale I talked about the trend. So even if it comes down to 42k or even 40k, it doesn't break any trend. I'm not saying it will happen, but even if it has to, because this pattern allows two scenario. One is the continuation of like kind of a U-shaped recovery, and touches this level, whatever 60k range, and then consolidation, and then for the 80k. I'll let you know more precise level once it breaks above the all-time high, right? And another scenario is where it could move sideways. If it has to move sideways, it has to move sideways in coming days. If it breaks above 49k or 50k range that I gave, resistance zone, then we can expect it to touch 60k range, and then some consolidation and so on. But if it is not able to break above this 4950k range, then it could end up with a sideways move, or 42k 42 of sorry 40k to 42k range. So when I talk about monthly, I'm talking about a bigger range in terms of dollar number, right? Which makes sense from a big picture point of view. So if I had to draw up, maybe I will draw something like this. My bad. Should remove this. It could be simply like touch this one and then go up. Yeah, so it in that case it might eat up whole entire August month. Another worst case is deeper correction, which I'm not calling out now, but even if on a macro scale this is possible, at this moment it's not probable, not at all probable, but this a possibility. It could go deeper around 37k and then move up like this, and a huge move like that, in fact. So this is another scenario where the whole September month also could be under correction, right? So on in summary, we could see so this breaking above this 49k range is going to be critical to decide whether it will go in this way, of course, like this, something like this. Not exactly, but like this, and then move up, and then move up, or or either it could be like this range, 40 42 40, and then up, something like that. So that's on the monthly scale. But right now the probability that it's looking good, and it may not even go to 40 or 42k, but as far as scenario is concerned, that can be a possibility, right? So that's monthly. I think I'll just deep dive on hourly, because just to see what is happening, because I see a bounce, which I mentioned a couple of hours ago when I posted that it's consolidating on an hourly scale. This was a sudden drop. That's not a surprise. um, it always react near the resistance zone. Now this is a very positive sign, very positive sign, and a welcome move, right? This has happened during our call, and this is a welcome move. So I'm also looking at it and trying to understand the nature of this bounce, and it is pretty good. So I think it requires at least 47 300 level for it to just come out of this. But this is 1 hour. 1 hour is like is totally unreliable. But just to get a just to get an insight of what is happening, 1 hour is okay. Otherwise, it's just full of noise. Anyways, so that's Bitcoin. So I think we covered all the time frames and mm, did the health check, and so everything looks good. Everything looks good for now, and I think I covered all the scenarios. Next week we'll have more details. I by the next week, if anything goes wrong, we always sync up. So I'll open a call and do before the weekends, right? Okay, with that note, I'll end this session on Bitcoin, and